Hello, family. Welcome back to Concrete Pastures. I am Nancy Mlemwasisi. Oh my God, I am so excited. I'm just a little bit under the weather, but I'm excited inside right now. Um, all of us in the diaspora that are football fans, soccer fans, like we call it back home, we're super excited. We are looking forward to who's winning the African Cup this year. And today, for anybody who's new, this is a platform where we highlight immigrant stories. But today I'm here to highlight our technical director at Football Association of Zambia, Lyson Zulu. And he's at 4 a.m. and I am at 6 a.m. here. And I'm so honored just to be joined by him. How are you?
I am very well, Nancy. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my God. I needed to catch you before the internet, not that the internet back home is bad, but it has its own issues. So I had to catch you before you went back home. Guys, he's in the US of A and he just chose to come during winter time. I would choose to come summertime. But I love your jersey. It's cool. And I'm wearing mine representing our Zambian, Chipolopolo.
Copa is Loco is Laka, so we're donning Copa as we prepare for the Africa Cup of Nations.
I love it.
Uh,
I love it. I love it. I love it. I am. Yeah, did you watch the game yesterday? I'm sure you did.
um, because it's not on DSTV, and also I had class in the afternoon yesterday because I'm here on the US Sports Visitor Program. So I had sessions with the US Soccer Federation yesterday around the same time the game was being played.
Oh my
So I was
God.
just following on the social media and just getting feedback from some of my team who are in Ivory Coast.
Oh, lovely. Guys, anybody who is in the diaspora and you have access to the app Sling TV, unless you upgrade, I think you catch the live, but you can catch the pre-games after they are play. You can catch it the next day. So today I'm going to watch the game myself too. I was catching up. I was doing the same thing. I was trying to catch it live, but you have to pay for that. It's a lot of money. Um, but I did see it was draw 1-1, right?
1-1, yes.
Yay. Oh my God. Fingers crossed. So we're already starting. I just want to give a little bit of insight as to how you joined our Zambian team. What is your background?
So I grew up in Kalingalinga compound near mass media in Lusaka.
Oh, wow.
So I think my journey starts from the year 2002 when I played in a tournament. So they brought a lot of teams together, and the aim of this tournament was to pick 22 players that were going to represent the country in Sweden and Norway. So during the tournament, my team reached the final, and at the end of the tournament, they started calling the 22 names of the players that they believed were good enough to go and represent Zambia in Sweden and Norway at the Gothia and Norway Cups. And you won't believe it, my name was the 22nd name on the list. It was the last name on the list.
Wow.
And that was February of 2002. And in July, we traveled to Sweden to play
Mhm.
in the Gothia Cup. And then thereafter, we went to Norway. And that was the very first time I was leaving, the country to go abroad. And that experience just changed the way I look at life. And, when we went back home, I think because it was such a big deal, there was a lot of interest from members of the community asking how Europe is, a lot of questions from young players, asking about how our experience was.
Yeah.
So from there, I try to find a way to give back because then all of a sudden I thought I had something that I could share with the community.
Hmm.
And at that point, I decided to give back and I would hold sessions, football sessions with, you know, uh, uh, young players in the community. But these sessions were different because we talk about, life challenges, and I try to impact some of the life skills into some of these players that came to the sessions. So I introduced these sessions in schools. I started with Kalingalinga Primary School, which was my former school. And before I knew it, I had all the schools in the compound, which I was visiting on a regular basis just to interact with, some of the young people that I thought maybe I could have an impact on. And then during one of these sessions, I didn't know there was a partnership between EduSport Foundation, which is where I was from, and a project called Wallace. So this was a project which involved bringing students from the United Kingdom to Zambia. They came to Zambian communities to coach sport. So one afternoon I was delivering a session, and there was a lady in the back of the classroom. I didn't know, but she was the deputy director of sport at the University of Bath. So when she saw me deliver this session, she thought I deserved a chance to be, at the University of Bath. But that alone was not enough. So the following day, I had a match at Imboyela Stadium against Nkwazi. She sent some people to come and watch me, and they were quite happy with what they saw. So they gave her the report, and in no time, I was called to trial in England at the University of Bath. I went out for 10 days. I had to train with the first team and get feedback from the coaches. After 10 days, I went back to Zambia, and 2 months later, I got the news that I'd received the scholarship, to study at the University of Bath. So from there, I moved to the UK in 2007, in about August 2007, where I pursued a foundation degree in sports performance. And then after the University of Bath, I moved to the University of Loughborough, which arguably is the best sports university in the world. I moved to Loughborough, where I did my bachelor's in sports science with management. And then when I finished the course, I decided to go back home just to try and add value to, to sport. And, I got a job at the OIDC Zambia, it's called now. Actually, when I went there, I took over from Coach George Rwandamina. He's a renowned football coach in Zambia.
Yeah.
So I took over from him as a head of football. And then after a few years, I got the programs manager role, which involved managing 14 sports disciplines. And then, from there, I was appointed first as football development manager at the Football Association of Zambia. So I was looking for a new challenge after having worked at OIDC for 7 years, and I thought the timing was perfect. So I got appointed as football development manager. So at this point, I had to give notice to OIDC that I'm now moving to to Fires.
Yeah.
The notice was received, and in that month of handing over, there was a team of experts from FIFA who were coming to conduct the interviews for the technical director for the Football Association. And the idea was that in this role that they had given me, I was going to be reporting to the technical director, who was going to be appointed by the panel of FIFA delegates. And then I received a call one morning asking me to come into the football house to meet some of the FIFA delegates, just so they can understand, the person who's going to report to the main guy, which was going to be the technical director. But at this point, after a 10-minute meeting with them, I was meeting them for the very first time. But after 10 minutes, one of them said, "You know what? We believe you have what it takes to also go for this role. Why don't you apply for this position?"
Wow.
But at that point, I'm like, it's it's a big position. I'm thinking, I'm comfortable just being football development manager, so I can report to the technical director.
Mm.
But then, he insisted and he said, okay, you go think about it. If you're interested, you can still apply and just show interest. But it's a win-win situation for you. If you don't get the technical director job, you can still, be retained as a football development manager. So I went home, discussed with my wife, and we thought, why not?
Mm-hmm.
So I put in my application, and but before I left, the FIFA experts told me, well, you're disadvantaged because it means you only have these questions that we're going to give you for only 2 days when everyone else has had them for 2 weeks. So there was a short list of, candidates for this position. So I had 2 days to prepare, and I went in on the day of the interviews. And on that day, I remember I was actually flying to the US. I was going to New York with my wife. So when I got to New York, 3 days later, they got in touch and told me that I had the job. So that's how I became the technical director of the Football Association of Zambia.
Wow. Beautiful. It's so inspirational just from the little bit that you've shared. You getting into the football world and then going back to give back, and that's what actually helps you to rise to where you are today, which is I'm so big on giving back where we come from. I also grew up rural, and I love that you went back to Kalingalinga. For anybody who's not familiar with Zambia, Kalingalinga is one of like compounds that's like rural area, really. Um, but it's amazing that you don't forget where you came from, which is beautiful. So could you share with us what it truly takes to be what does your role entail? Like what do you do for the team?
In the simplest terms, the football technical director prepares the future of the country's football. So the head coach will prepare the next game. The technical director is preparing the next 10 years of football.
Oh, wow.
So my role oversees all youth national teams, coach education, women's football, futsal, and beach soccer. So my role is basically in charge of all football related issues in the country. So I'll be the one conducting the coaching courses. I'll be the one making recommendations on which coaches I believe have the capacity to coach our youth national teams. I also sit on the technical committee to make recommendations on who can become the head coach of the senior men's national team. So in summary, that's what my role entails.
So now since that the African Cup is happening and Zambia, thank God, has qualified to be at the African Cup. What does it take to prepare for this type of event? Like for the team itself?
It's a lot of work. I know people just see the 90 minutes, which is
Yes.
played, but it's a lot of work that goes on in the background. The first thing is, coming up with a technical bench that you believe in, that will achieve the set goals and objectives. So a technical bench will consist of the head coach, the assistant coach, the goalkeeper coach, the physiotherapists, the team doctors, the team managers, the video analysts. So it's a whole group of support staff in the background. So that is probably one of the key elements that has to be put in place. Apart from that, so the technical bench is entrusted with selecting the players that will play in a
Oh, so
given
not
match. Or
everybody plays.
well, not really. I mean, depending on the philosophy of the coach, he'll pick the players that he believes will,
Execute.
will, will be able to fit in that philosophy and be able to deliver. So depending on the type of opponent, maybe the coach will pick different players as well.
Got it.
So apart from that, we have to organize high profile friendlies. We played Cameroon not long ago, just before we went to the AFCON in Saudi Arabia, because the team camped in Saudi Arabia for over a week before the AFCON. So there's a lot that really goes on in the background. You have to manage the travel of these players. We have to also communicate to their clubs, regarding their release for national duty.
Yeah.
And this whole team is performing different functions to ensure that the team is ready for any major competitions.
Got it. I mean, yesterday they are playing also on the 21st and the 24th. What do they do in the meantime? Like, are they training every single day? Because we don't see behind the scenes. So we need the inside. Like, what's happening while they are waiting to play?
Well, obviously they're getting ready. They're preparing for the next game, but they prepare for the next game based on different factors. So the opponent that will play next is different, which means the way we prepare for them will be different. So the approach will be different. But then they will do a lot of video analysis of the opponent that we're playing and also of our own team and how we can exploit, the weaknesses of the opponents that we are facing next, which is Tanzania.
Oh, Tanzania.
But also they will do the analysis of how we played yesterday against
Congo
DR to see if there's any areas that need to be improved. So the players will actually get the visuals of how they played and they'll get feedback to try and improve on that for the next game. So there's still a lot of work that is happening in camp. But it's a team of experts which we have put together so they will understand when to load the players and when to rest them. So there'll be moments when the team will be resting, but most of it will be put into trying to get ready for the next game.
Wow, beautiful. So they're playing with Tanzania on the 21st and then Morocco. Have we played Morocco before?
We have, yes, we have. We have played Morocco. We've played Morocco before, and Tanzania being our neighbor also, we have played them. So it's not exactly the easiest of groups, but it's exciting. I think we have a team that can produce results. And, picking up a draw yesterday was not bad for a start. We can build from there. Mind you, we have a young team, which is not experienced at this level also. The only player who's been at AFCON in this whole team is Sunzu, who was there also in 2012 when we won it. So, I believe the team will grow in strength, as they progress.
Yes, and I believe the team is in good hands. You guys are amazing. So what are some of the challenges you guys face during this time and also in your role, you being the technical developer?
Maybe some challenges would be, the players are coming from different clubs, but you can only have them for a certain time because there's what we call the FIFA window. So you cannot have access to, these players until such a time. Like in this case for the AFCON, the players that we could only be released by their club starting the 1st of January. So for planning purposes,
have enough time to train with them.
You don't have a lot of time. But remember, these are professionals who are practicing with their clubs week in, week out. So when they come into camp for the national team, the coach just works on the tactical approach, banking on the fact that they are playing, at their different clubs. That sometimes can be can be challenging.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know. I thought they give you like, a lot of time. Someone was telling me the clubs in Europe are playing, and because I was asking, are you watching the AFCON? They're like, not really, because I'm watching the
Exactly.
European. So
And
it's
that's
playing at the same time. So I'm like,
exactly,
and they're
exactly.
mad
And
that this is happening. They're really soccer fans are like, I'm so pissed that this is happening because some of the players have left. I'm like, oh,
exactly. And this, it's difficult because, they want to play for their clubs also, but their allegiance also is to the country. They want to play for the country.
yeah.
So it becomes difficult, especially for the fact that most of our players are not playing uh, locally. You know, a huge percentage of our players are playing abroad, which
Mm.
means their team are affected by the absence of these players. Um, but all in all, they are professionals and they know how to conduct themselves to maximize, you know, um, on these opportunities.
Oh, wow. So, having said that, like they are coming from other clubs and coming. So, how do you manage like collaborating with coaches on how to manage this type of, I guess, integrating someone from the club to the other team members that are
So I talked
always
about the
practicing?
philosophy. I
Yeah.
talked about the philosophy. So they know the game model might be
Mhm.
different, between the club and the national team.
Yes.
Um, but then remember, these are professionals, at the highest, they're competing at the highest level. So depending on what the coach asks of them, they're able to adjust and still be able to deliver.
Oh,
In
no.
that short time that we have with them at the national team, they'll understand what the coach is asking of them to do and still be able to perform at the highest level.
Got it. So there's a lot of aspiring kids out there wanting to be like you, wanting to be like our soccer team players. And what advice would you give them for the aspiring kids?
Um, the advice is that dreams do come true. Dreams do come true. Even my own story, I think, is a testimony to that fact. Growing up in Kalingalinga, going to study at some of the best universities in the UK, and now serving as the technical director of the Football Association of Zambia, which is, a real privilege for me. But if you look at my journey, it's a testimony that indeed dreams do come true. So if the young players have dreams of becoming professional one day, it is possible. If you look at the stories even of Patson Daka and Enoch Mwepu, who unfortunately, is not playing anymore because of a medical condition. You look at Fashion Sakala and them, most of our guys who've gone to play at the highest level have come from very humble backgrounds, but they believed in the dreams that they had, and you know, and God made it possible. So believe in yourself and believe in God, and nothing is impossible in this world. But also you have to work hard. It's not easy. You have to train hard and always look at improving yourself.
Well said. Who's been your blueprint? Because a lot of people that are successful, they look at someone, I guess they admire to see the work that they have done. In your case, there's a lot of players that have come and been successful. Who's been your blueprint?
I think a lot of inspiration came from my dad. For one reason, actually,
Oh, wow.
because my dad used to play and he took me to the first match. It was between Zanaco and Green Buffaloes. And I was very young then. But I was amazed at how many people went to watch the game. It was crazy. Um, but then so I started playing, and remember I told you I'd gone to Sweden and Norway to play at a
Yes.
very young age.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad always used to tell me, you have to invest in both your school and your football,
Mm-hmm.
because football is a very short career. He would tell me that. So in the summer of 2004, I was supposed to travel with the team to Sweden and Norway again. But he told me, no, you focus on your school. And I hated him. I probably didn't speak to him for a couple of days because it didn't make sense why he would stop me from traveling with the team to go and play football. But he knew. Many years later, I thank him that he, guided me on that path. And I thank God that there was people to guide me on that path at different levels. There was the founder of Edu Sport Foundation, Oscar Mwanga, who also played a key role. When I moved to England, because I was very young, I needed to have a UK guardian, and there was a lady. They were the same lady who actually thought I deserved the chance in Zambia, Nikki Fossey Lewis. She was my legal guardian, together with her husband, Ian Lewis. These also provided a lot of mentorship, a lot of guidance on this journey. So I think those people have had the most influence on my life so far. Plus the many other coaches who coached me prior to going to the UK, and also when I was in the UK.
Beautiful. What do you think is the future for our Zambian team? Because now we've made it to the AFCON and waiting for the World Cup.
Well, the future is looking good, I must say. Firstly, if you look at the number of players that we have in Europe for both the men's and the women's teams, Zambia has a lot of potential. Clearly, we won the AFCON once. And if it's on the women's side, we've qualified to the Africa Cup of Nations a lot of times. We've also qualified to the Olympics just in the recent past. The last Olympics, we're the only African team to have qualified.
Hey.
And also, we're one of the 4 African teams to qualify to the World Cup. So that shows you that there's a lot of potential in our football. And the future is looking good. Football is now becoming a career that hopefully parents can encourage their children to take and guide them along that path.
That's amazing. This is an off type of topic. Like, what is the president saying? Like, is he happy with you guys' work that you're doing, or does he even get involved at all?
The president of the state?
Yes.
No, he's the number 1 fan of the teams. Every time the teams qualify to any major competition or they win a match, you'll see him celebrating that success, or, on social media, and sometimes inviting the teams to State House, to dine with him. So that has been a motivation also for our teams to want to do better at all major competitions.
Beautiful, beautiful. And what do you think is I mean, I'm sure you'll be biased, but what's the projection of this event happening right now for the Zambian team? Are we taking it home, or what's happening? Based on,
I think we have a good enough team. And like I said, I think we'll grow in strength from game to game. But I'm really sure that we'll qualify from the group and we'll take each game as it comes. But in terms of the quality in the team, we have the quality that has the potential to go as far as possible in this tournament.
Got it. Do you guys provide any training for the young youth?
Is it for coaches or players?
Players.
Yes, there's a lot of training. There's a lot of academies which are coming up now in Zambia.
Okay.
Where young people can register and get to compete with other young players. There's a lot of leagues and tournaments which have been introduced. So the platform is there for training and competition.
What's the age limit?
There's no age limit. There's no age limit. Depending on what team you're playing for, there's no age limit really, but kids who start as young as 6 years old join an academy and go through the ranks until maybe they're 18 to join a professional team. And yeah, it goes on from there.
Oh, my son is 4. He's playing.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
He's playing here. So when we visit Zambia, we're going to come and, um, have him play somehow at
That's
some
good.
club. Yeah.
That's good. I've got two sons,
Yeah.
Elijah and Nkonde, 11 and 12.
Oh,
So
nice.
they're both playing. So it's nice to just go and watch their sessions sometimes and maybe try to set up sessions at home sometimes just to try and improve their skills.
Do
So
they like you coaching them, or they like other people?
it's hard when I think it's difficult because of what I do. It's very difficult, and sometimes I have to watch myself that I'm not too harsh and I'm not expecting too much. But at that age, I just want them to enjoy the game. It's more important, I think, at that age, so they can, f- you know, fall in love with the game and try to improve on, their technique, which is their ball mastery skills.
Yeah.
That's more important for that age group. It's not about winning then.
Yeah.
It's about them learning the game and just loving the game.
You know why I ask? Because I find myself being critical, and I'm looking at my son. He's playing, rolling on the floor, and his coach is just like, just let him be. He's enjoying. He's kicking the ball. He's scoring, whatever he's doing. Because he'll play, trying to grab. He even grabs the ball from his own people and kick to the opposite
Yeah.
when they have the.
No, but for me, I think my wife is more like the coach. She's the one who's pushing them even more. She's a perfectionist, so she's wanting them to get it right. Like she's pushing them more. And I'm like, okay, let's take it easy now. I'm all being technical, like trying to ensure that they still loving the game.
Yeah, that's what he keeps telling me. The coach is like, just let him love the game. So
Yeah.
even when we're home, he's kicking. I'm like, not in the house, and it's hard kicks now. Then like the
Yeah.
windows, please.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Oh, beautiful. But what do they think about what you do as a parent with because sometimes when you're in a certain career, we put our kids into that career, depending on what it is. Some
Mhm.
doctors want their kids to be doctors. Some, depending on what career they're doing. So in your case, what do they think? Do they love it? Or are they doing it because you asked them, or you guys are asking them to do it?
No, no, my sons love to play.
No,
They
love it.
love the game. Yeah, they love the game. And I can see them developing as well, which is a good thing for me. And you know, I hope the game will provide them opportunities where they can play.
Yeah.
But the most important thing is for them to to want this. It doesn't matter how much we want it. If they want it more, they will become what they want. But I believe, they're on the right path if they want to play in the future.
Mm.
But remember also, we are ensuring that they get their education. For us, it's very important. They have to maintain their grades for them to continue playing football.
Yeah, I think it's a big thing to have. My daughter also plays. I have a 9-year-old.
Okay.
She plays in school, and part of playing, you have to maintain an average of the
Okay.
grades. Otherwise, you are out of the club if you're not performing in class. So that also helps actually, that the fact that they have a cap and on how much your grade should be before you are dropped out of the club. So it forces kids to work harder,
Yeah. Yeah.
both on the field and also in class. Does Zambia have scholarships for the youth? Like, let's say they are performing well in the clubs, and do they have scholarships to, like, go to universities and stuff like that?
Those ones will be provided mostly by the clubs.
Got it.
But in the case of Zambia, the
Mhm.
current FA president, Mr. Andrew Ndanga Kamanga, actually provided scholarships for all the boys and girls that were part of the national team starting 2019. So that
Oh,
has really helped in trying to, preach the message of them of the importance of education, but also some families who have been struggling maybe for fees and other school requirements. But because their children are talented, that is a burden that is taken over by the FA. So that has really helped.
oh, that's beautiful. Um, I'm focusing on that because there's a lot of Zambians that do listen back home, and some of them might be interested in having their children in the clubs. And is there a fee for the kids to join or no?
Well, they're different academies. Others are fee paying, others are free. So
Okay,
it just depends on what your choice is, really.
okay. Are they treated the same?
The approaches will be different based
Oh,
on the philosophy of that club or
okay.
academy. But ultimately, I think the idea is to produce players that will hopefully be able to play for the junior national teams. Because also we've created the under 15 national team, which has competed in different competitions in Europe. We've played
Oh, lovely.
in Croatia, we've played in Georgia, and we're looking to play in the Norway Cup this year. So, you can get your kids to be a part of the national team if they're good enough at a very young age now.
Oh, beautiful. That's amazing. Um, okay. Wow. So what's the future for you? This is my last question to you. What's the future for you? You've done so much already in the football world. Now you are with our national team. What do you see as your future?
I, Sometimes I never know how to answer that question, to be honest, because if I look back at the recent past, when I was at OIDC,
Mm,
I probably thought I had a future planned out, you know. But at the end of the day, I am a believer, and I believe, like, you know, God has it all sorted out for me. Because
yeah.
if you told me in 2018 that I would be technical director for the Football Association of Zambia, there was no chance. There was no chance, you know. But here I am. I would never have thought. Five, I've been in this position for 5 years now. Yeah, I'm the youngest TD in Africa, by the way, the youngest technical
Wow.
director in Africa, possibly the world. But
Amazing.
to if I had to guess 6 years ago, I would not have guessed that I would be the technical director of the Football Association of Zambia. So with all the, you know, but I see a future where I would be able to contribute massively to the development of the game,
Mm,
maybe at a global stage. In what capacity, I don't know. But I can see how my life has been, throughout the journey from Kalingalinga to studying at Bath and Loughborough to,
yeah.
working at the OIDC and now at FAS. I can sort of have an idea where, God is taking me and how he's helped me on this journey, because I've always believed that, whatever stage I'm at the moment is preparing me for the next. So the next stage, I don't know, but hopefully it'll be involved in the game at a larger scale, maybe at continental level and the global stage.
I have no doubt you'll get there. And
Thank you.
it's amazing on how I guess God has guided you, which
Mhm.
is amazing. And thank you so much for your insight. I'm excited for the Zambian team. It's all kudos to you guys, you and your team for getting them there and the players. I'm just looking forward to us, taking it home. This has been such an honor to have you on. And
Thank you so much for having
it's
me.
so
Really, really
early
humbled.
on. No, I'm humbled. I'm grateful and thank you for being transparent with your story. It's so inspirational, and I can't wait. just to have, well, no matter what happens, it's exciting that Zambia is there, is part of, the event that's happening right now. And, again, hats off to you guys and the whole team.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.